I got a different type of video than usual today. I wanna it's a video I've been thinking about making for a while now, just to kind of I think it might help me, get some things off my chest, kind of clear my head a little bit, and hopefully it reaches the right audience and gets to who it needs to get to and helps them with their journey throughout mixed martial arts, or just maybe just life in general. It'll help them, and in that way. So today I want to talk about my experience with mixed martial arts as an amateur MMA fighter. You know, the memories I made, the people I met, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything that's come along with it. I kind of want to talk about it because some of you may know I just had my last fight back in February. It was a tough decision to make, but it was ultimately my decision, and I made sure, and I'm the one that made the decision to make it my last fight. So there's a lot that goes into it. Like I said, we'll dive into it. I want to kind of talk about my career and everything like that I had. I hate saying career. My time as a fighter, like that. Talk about some of the fights. I won't go in depth on all the fights because I'd like to eventually maybe one day do like a story time on each one of my fights because, I had 10 amateur MMA fights, competed for boxing belts and stuff as well. So there's a lot of like fight day story times that I could do that I would like to do in the future. So I'm going to try not to dive too deep into those. I know, like I said, different than what I usually do. I'm doing UFC content, predictions, breakdowns, etc. Usually I have my little notes page, but there's no notes here. Nothing UFC related. This is about me and my time as a fighter. What I'll be saying is coming straight from my heart and straight from my brain. No notes, nothing, no bullet points, no nothing. Just straight spitting, seeing what happens. So, yeah. As some of you should know. If not, my name is Connor. I'm 21 years old. I used to be an amateur MMA fighter in the state of Ohio. I started training when I was 17 years old, so about 4 years I trained. I took my first fight when I was 18. I competed as a flyweight, 125 pounds. I fought in mostly in Ohio. I did dip down in Kentucky. I did multiple boxing matches, kickboxing matches, grappling tournaments, things like that. I was nothing special. I wasn't some physical specimen who was really good at this or that. I went 5-5, 5 wins, 5 losses, 500 dead even, middle of the road. 5 wins. 4 of them were submissions. One of them was a split decision. 2 of those being first round submissions. 1 in the second, 1 in the third. 4 losses, 4 decisions, and then 1 knockout loss as well. Like I said, I started when I was 17. I didn't wrestle or have any background in mixed martial arts or any martial arts before I got into fighting. I just went straight into it and wanted to train and try it out. I was always a fan of the UFC. Figured I'd give it a try. I played football in high school. I wasn't very big, obviously, as I fought at flyweight. So I wasn't very big in high school, so football wasn't going to go anywhere for me. I was losing my love for football, and I wanted to find something else, something I could still keep that competitive drive that I have, something I could feed that with, because I knew it wasn't going to go down, especially in high school. So I need to find something. Like I said, I was a fan of the UFC. So I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. Started training when I was 17. Did just grappling at first for a little bit. And then I transitioned into MMA and took my first fight when I was 18, still a senior in high school. I fought a dude that was, like I said, I won't get too deep into it. I fought a dude that was 29 at the time. Now he's a professional boxer, professional kickboxer. I believe he's a professional kickboxing champion as well. Great guy, but not a fight I should have took in my debut. I will say that. There's a lot of things I would have changed that in my career that I wish I would have done differently. But that's all hearsay now. Nothing I can do about it anymore. No point in dwelling on the past. MMA in general. I made a lot of great memories in MMA. I made it my identity. Once I started doing it, like that's who I was. Everyone was like, "Oh, Connor, that he's an MMA fighter. Oh, the fighter. Oh, the guy that fights." And at the time, I loved that because that's all I wanted to be. I wanted to be known as a fighter, and I thought that was so cool. So when people would tell me, "Oh, yeah, Connor, yeah, you're the guy that fights," yes, I thought it was so cool. I covered in tattoos, a whole arm sleeve. This whole thing's dedicated to my fight career, from my hand all the way up to my chest. Has to do with my fight career. I got a goofy tattoo on my thigh here on my left leg that anyone else wouldn't know what it was, but other people in my circle, my training partners, my coaches, teammates, etc., they get the tattoo and they think it's It's got meaning. It is funny, yes, but it has meaning to it. So it was just like I said, it was a big part of my life when I started training. I wanted to take it seriously, and I wanted to be the best. We all want to be the best in all sports, but especially in MMA. Man, trying to think where I should go with this, like where to start with everything and what to talk about. Like I said, 17, started training, didn't have any background, went into practice every day. I was getting my ass whooped, whether that was by grown men, 200 pounds, grown men, 125 pounds, and women, 115 pounds to 100 whatever pounds. In there whooping my ass every day. I get off of school, go to work, get off of work, and go and get my ass whipped every day at practice and repeat every single day. That's where a lot of people quit, is that because they don't see immediate growth and immediate success, and they want to quit. MMA is not something you're going to see immediate success and growth with at all. It's something you got to do and stick to it. It's something you have to dedicate your life to this. If you don't give it everything you got, you're not going to succeed. Even I thought I was giving it everything I had, and now that I think about it, there was more that I could have done. Like, I tried to set up my life the best I could to where all I was doing is fighting. And I did everything I could to make it that way. I was training, every single day for multiple hours a day. I was lifting with a personal trainer to get me in great shape. Doing everything I could just to make sure I could be the best version of myself as a fighter. And that's a lot of what it takes because, like I said, I didn't have a wrestling background. Like I said, I fought in the state of Ohio. A lot of great wrestlers, especially at the lower weight classes. He's got to think guys at the lower weight classes like that, this is the only sport they can do because they are too small. They are not going to go play football. They're not going to the NFL. They're not going to the NBA. These guys are not going, they're not going to be WWE superstars. Another dream of mine that I had as a kid, they're not going to do that. They need something where being small doesn't matter, and that's MMA because it's weight class based, of course. So those guys, they're dedicated to it. Like I said, a lot of good wrestlers because, again, the weight class based thing, you get a lot of good wrestlers down there. I was already at a disadvantage with these great wrestlers that I knew I was going to come across eventually. But yeah, like I said, as a kid, 17 years old, a kid, dedicating everything I had to it, just trying to be good at something, be the best at something. I was never, I would say I'm athletic, but I was never like some athletic specimen. Like I wasn't super fast. There was nothing special about what I could do besides I just wanted it a lot. That was something that I had, was grit and a want to win. I love winning. I do still till this day. If I can make something in competition and beat you in it, I'm going to do everything I can to beat you in it. I love winning, and I hate losing. And that was a big part of something in MMA that I'll talk about a little bit eventually later on once I get to that point. But that was what drove me, was to win. I wanted to win. I'm kind of a, I don't know the word. I don't want to say egomaniac, but growing up in sports, it was never all eyes on me. It was never people talking about me. I wasn't the star. I always wanted to be the star. So MMA, I was like, dude, this is, as much as people say MMA is a single person sport, to an extent, yes, but it is still a team sport. But it is, you can be a star. You can be a star in the eyes of a normal person. And that's what I really wanted. And that's why I tried so hard. I wanted that validation. I wanted that congratulations. I wanted that people to be like, wow, he's so cool. Like, that's what I wanted. That's really what I wanted from fighting. And that's a big reason why I don't think it worked out for me in the end, because that's what I wanted from it the most, was the validation. I wanted people to think I hate to say cool, but like that's kind of the best way. I wanted people to look at me that way, as a cool, dangerous dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I wanted, more than I wanted to be the best in the world. And I noticed that change at some point in my career, but I do know that was something of how my brain worked and thought about fighting at the time. It was that's just kind of how it was. I wanted to be the center of attention. I've always was that way, and that was a big thing in my fight style as well. One of the people's favorite part of my fights was usually after, on the post-fight interview. They would let me talk on the mic. I've been watching pro wrestling my whole life. I can cut a promo. I could cut a mean promo, so they would let me get on that mic, and I'd say, talk whatever mess I could talk, and that was a big thing. I was a character. I was being myself, but I turned it up a couple notches, for entertainment reasons. And entertainment factor was something big that I tried to do just to make sure people would want to watch me fight. Because as an amateur, you don't make money. If you're going to get into MMA as an amateur, you think you're going to make money, you're not going to make money. You don't get paid to fight. You don't get paid to fight. If you're lucky, you'll get like ticket sale commissions and pay-per-view, and maybe if you're going somewhere, the dudes will pay you $20 for gas, which nowadays that ain't going to get you nothing. It's $4 a gallon right now. You know what I'm saying? So you're not going to get paid. You're not going to make money doing MMA. You're going to lose money. I didn't make any money. I don't make money from this. I didn't make money. I shouldn't say I do. I don't do it anymore. I didn't make money from it. I lost money. I lost money in buying gear, and anything that's going to the weight cut, the food and the diet that goes into that, the supplements for that, the gear, the licensing, the travel, etc., etc. I lost money doing this stuff. I lost money, 100%. So don't think you're going to make money doing this. You're not. You're not going to make money. Even as a pro, you're not going to make as much money as you think. Just do some research. What's one of the big problems people have with the UFC right now is fighter pay. Guys don't get paid enough. These guys are going in there like true gladiators, if there was no ref in there, somebody would die. They're fighting to the death if no ref was in there. And these guys aren't getting paid enough for it. I'm a big advocate for that. I do agree that fighters do not get paid enough money at all. I think everybody could agree with that. But so don't think you're going to come in and make money. Don't think you're going to come in and win immediately either. That's not something that's going to happen. You're going to have to, like I said, it's a grind. You're going to have to go to practice every single day, work the same things over and over and over every single day until eventually it clicks. It's not something you can pick up super simply. Something with me, I was definitely I have 2 boxing belts back there. I was not a boxer at all. I was not a striker. I was definitely a grappler. I got 2 jiu-jitsu belts back there. I got to a blue belt. I never really did the gi. I was never a fan of gi. So most of my stuff was no gi. The little stint that I did do with gi, I got myself to a blue belt, and I was like, all right, that's cool. And I kind of, cooled off on that. More of a no gi guy myself. But yeah, definitely, like I said, the boxing belts, those are just for show. They were cool to win, but it wasn't any. I was not a striker. I never have been a striker, and I would never claim to be a striker. Bryce Hall. You know what I'm saying? Never claimed to be a fighter. Whatever. Anyway. I never wasn't a striker. Definitely more of a grappler. And even then, jiu-jitsu was something I was really good at. And people were like, wow, dude, you have some funky, really cool jiu-jitsu. Where'd you learn this stuff? I was like, dude, it's just doing it over and over. Working with my coach over and over. Just trying stuff. Sometimes you just got to try stuff when you're out there. Like, hey, the gym is where you should fail. You should get beat up in the gym. You should lose in the gym. If you're going to lose anywhere, lose there. Don't lose in the cage. Don't lose when it counts. Lose in the gym when you're learning. Don't try to whip out this new stuff you've never tried during a fight. Do it in the gym. See if it works first. And then pull it out in a fight. That's when you got to learn. So when you're in the gym, don't be scared to try new things. Don't be scared to ask questions. You got to soak everything up. You got to be a sponge. You got to soak everything in and try to be the best version of yourself that you can be with the knowledge that you're given, whether that's from coaches, teammates, guests coming in. Let's say you got, a fighter or a coach from a different gym, cross-training, whatever. Learn everything you can, man. Learn everything you can. What else do I want to touch on? Taking fights. If you're going to fight, go to a gym. Do not be an independent fighter. I can't stand independent fighters, bro. If you're an independent fighter, that means, if you don't know what that means you train on your own. You punch a heavy bag in your garage or something. Don't be an independent fighter. Go to a gym, man. Go to a gym. Go to someone that's going to take care of you. They're going to teach you, and they're going to let you go in there and most importantly, be able to protect yourself in there. And then after that, teach you to go in there and start winning. But yeah, don't be an independent fighter. Go to a gym, please. Please go to a gym. I could promise you do not. The amount of times I've seen independent fighters go on a card and just be, served up to a fighter, lay him out to slaughter type of thing. And be careful who you do business with when you're taking fights. Some of these promoters, man, they're not going to care about you. And I'm not talking to anyone in specific when I say this video. I'm just talking, this is for broad in general. You're going to find it in any state, in any country, whatever. There's going to be promoters that do not care about you. They're not going to care. They will match you with whoever as long as it fills their card. So be careful. Do your research. Don't have this ego thinking you can beat anybody, man. Do your research on who you're fighting. Do research on the promotion, etc., etc. But at the same time, as an amateur, don't cherry pick your fights, man. You're an amateur. Once you go pro, your amateur record does not matter anymore. Nobody cares. Fight all kinds of tough people that you can. That's what I did, man. Like I said, my first fight, the guy now is a pro boxer, pro kickboxer. I fought, I believe one of the kids I fought was a collegiate wrestler. I fought another guy who's a dominant wrestler. He's like the number one ranked flyweight in Ohio now. Like I fought a lot of tough guys as often as I could, just because that's what was gonna make me better. I know a lot of guys, even ranked around here in Ohio, man, that would be at the time they have. Oh my God, these guys are undefeated with crazy records. You look at who they fought; they ain't beat anybody good yet. I'm like, oh, he's 5-0, but he ain't beat anybody good. Oh, he's 3-0. Oh, but he beat 3 independent guys. You got to start, and it's cool. Like maybe your first fight or two, start slow. Maybe fight an independent. The first fight, and maybe the first two fights or so. But then you got to start picking it up, because you got to test yourself. How you gonna know how good you are if you're always fighting someone that you're better than? You know what I mean? You need someone that's gonna push you. And like I said, that's something that I always try to do with my career. It got me some good wins, but it got me some hard losses as well. Like I said, I'm not claiming to be a good fighter. I don't think I was a great fighter at all. I think I was okay and I was middle of the road. I just wanted it a lot and I was tough and I didn't want to quit. And a lot of my fights I didn't want to quit. I never wanted to quit. Like I said, all my losses besides one was a decision, and the one that wasn't a decision was a knockout where I got put all the way out because that was the only way I was going to stop that fight. You were not going to catch me in a submission. I never fought anyone that was a better grappler than me. Everybody that I fought I was better as a grappler than. I definitely fought guys that were better strikers than me, and I definitely fought guys that were better wrestlers than me. There's some times I got wrestlers just taking me down, dominating me, and I was like, man, there's nothing I can do. That happened to me a few times, and I had some strikers that I just could not touch on the feet, and I was like, I need to get this guy to the ground. All of a sudden, I became a wrestler. I was a guy with no wrestling experience, but I had to become a wrestler, for those guys. So, like I said, you got to look into who you're fighting, look into the promotions you're working for, but at the same time, don't sell yourself short. Test yourself, take tough fights, fight tough fighters, especially as an amateur, bro. It's amateurs. This is your time to learn. This is your time to grow. So when you do go pro, that's when the record really matters. So don't worry about that too much as an amateur. That's one thing I would say. Don't worry so much about that. Weight cutting as an amateur. This one is it's gonna be your opinion. I did cut weight. I cut a lot of weight, honestly. I fought at 125, like I said. There was times from my last fight, I fought at 130 pounds of catch weight. I think I got up to 158 pounds before I cut down. And that originally I was gonna fight that night at 125 pounds. So I was gonna cut from 158 down to 125. As an amateur, do I recommend that? Absolutely not. Do not do that. Only cut a little bit. I wouldn't cut no more than 10, 15 pounds as an amateur. It's just not necessary. You're not getting paid. You're going to put your body through hell to not get paid. Like, I can tell you personally, I have horrible weight cut stories. My body hates being that small. Like, right now, I'm 150 pounds right now. And that's just normal, eating normal. I'm not force feeding myself. I'm not trying to bulk up. That's just normal. I'm 150 pounds. And I would cut down to 125 pounds. That's in Ohio, too, as an amateur, which is day of weigh-ins. So I'd have to weigh in at noon, all shrunken up at 125 pounds, and then try to hurry up and, rehydrate and recover in time to fight later that night, which is never enough time. I hate the way that's ran, but hey, I don't make the rules. But yeah, if you're going to weight cut as an amateur, especially if you have day of weigh-ins, I would not cut a lot of weight. Don't look into cutting weight, man. It's not necessary as an amateur. Not something I would do. It's caused me a lot of problems. I've had bad cuts. I believe it's led. I wouldn't say I have an eating disorder, but it's definitely affected. How do I word that? It's definitely affected my eating habits and schedule. I will say it's definitely has done that. That's one way that I will word it. If you are going to cut weight, do it smart. Don't just wing it. Talk to other fighters that have done it. Find a nutritionist. Do a lot of research. Do what you got to do. Make sure you're drinking enough water. Make sure you're cutting the right way. You know what I'm saying? Because I've seen a lot of people hurt themselves, man, cutting. And I have too. I had a really bad cut one time where I was. I'll never remember the word of what it's called. I'm in the sauna literally the morning of the fight, and all of a sudden, my hands were stuck like this. I couldn't move them. My lips were stuck, puckered, and I couldn't stand up. I couldn't talk. I had to get carried down the stairs from the sauna into the bathroom, stripped naked by one of my teammates, and held up on the scale to make sure I could make weight. That was all for an amateur fight where I got paid no money, bro. I did all that for an amateur fight to get paid no money just because I knew I wanted to fight and I knew I wanted to win. And that fight was like 10 minutes from my hometown. And I wanted to win in front of my people so bad so I would look like the man. I did win that night, by the way. I did win that fight. I'm horrible weight cut, but I did win the fight. And I did feel like the man. Was it worth the weight cut? No, it was not. And that's something else I want to get into. My last fight, I have a story time on here. You guys can check that out, so I won't dive in it too much. Basically, fought an undefeated kid. He gave me a concussion in the first round. And then from then on, I don't remember the rest of the fight. Ends up going to decision, being a split decision, I lose. I got a concussion. I took a lot of unnecessary damage. There's a lot of times the fight probably could have been stopped from what I've seen. I've never rewatched the fight back. I probably never will because I don't want to watch myself in that state. I've seen clips of the fight, and it's disgusting to watch. Like, it makes me actively cringe because I know nobody else knew at the time, but I knew what state of mind I was in. I wasn't there. I was concussed. I don't know how I didn't get knocked out. I could barely stand up. I could barely walk. I couldn't hear. My vision was blurry. My mouthpiece kept falling out because I couldn't close my mouth. And I remember there's clips of the commentators like, man, it looks like his mouthpiece doesn't fit in my mouth. Well, I was concussed. I could not close my mouth. I'm sorry. It's funny, I'd have people come to me, hey man, tough fight, but why didn't you do this, or this in round 2? Hey man, this point in round 3, you could have done this, could have done that. I was concussed. I'm sorry. I was trying not to get knocked out. Like, there's points in the fight where I just back myself up into the cage. Something obviously you should never do, but the only reason I did that, because there's like, this much of my brain was working there just to keep me alive, to keep me to survive. Mind you, all this amateur fight, no money on the line. Just saying, doing all of this. Just because I didn't want to lose. I'm backing myself up into the cage because I was like, okay, if he hits me clean, he's probably going to drop me because I can barely stand up. If I'm against the cage and he hits me, I can at least fall into the cage and not get dropped, and then I can initiate a clinch. Is literally what I was trying to tell myself in that moment. While this kid is just wailing on me, my almost unconscious body. Just horrible. I hate that that's how my last fight went, and it's disgusting. I'll like I said, I'll probably never rewatch that fight just because knowing what happened, it was gross. I hated it. I hate what happened to me. It really changed my outlook on fighting. It changed my outlook on life because like I said, I got in concussion and I had to go in a concussion, like, I don't want to say protocol, but like a concussion quarantine. I was stuck in my room for multiple days, just in the dark with nothing but my thoughts. And I thought a lot about life. I thought a lot about fighting in general. And it really opened my eyes for better and for worse, I think, because that's kind of when I decided to make the decision to say that was my last fight and I didn't want to fight anymore, which was very hard for me to do because, like I said, I made that my whole life and personality from the age of 17. Like I said, I'm 21 years old now. So for like 4 years, that's all I did was fight. That's my life revolved around fighting, and then all of a sudden it was gone, just like that. And I was like, what do I do with I don't know who I am anymore. I don't know what I want to do anymore. And I knew that I wanted to entertain in some way. I have it. It's tattooed on my arm. It says "Born to Entertain" on my arm. Yeah. I have it tattooed on me, and I knew I was here to entertain people. Everyone has their purpose in life. I believe mine is entertainment and entertaining others. I just had to find the way to do that. I thought it was with fighting, but it was not. I believe it is with just content and entertaining people. That's why I've started doing this so much, and that's why I talk to these cameras so much now. You know, I'm getting so used to talking to cameras and having microphones and cameras in my face all the time that I figured, doing what I'm doing right now might help me kind of clear my head and get stuff off my chest, and like I said, and help others, that might be trying to get into the MMA scene or have been through it, or maybe they'll just relate to this, or this will reach. I hope it just reaches who it needs to reach, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, like I said, that concussion time kind of let me think about everything a lot and decide that it just wasn't worth it anymore. I remember that night, like I said, I got that concussion. I got stretchered out of the place, had me on an oxygen mask. I was throwing up. I couldn't think straight. I was stuttering. I couldn't stand up on my own. And they get me in that hospital bed. I'm sitting there in the hospital. My face is all beat up. I got this goofy neck brace on. Like I said, you guys will see it if you check out my first ever video on this channel. Is that story time about that. And I just look at all my family sitting there. My mom was crying. Everybody's all worried. And I just thought to myself, like, dude, what are you doing? That was the first time in my life during fighting where I thought, what are you doing? This is stupid. First ever time I thought it was right then and there. And I'd been through a lot, man. In my career, ups and downs. Like I said, it's cool. Oh, I got 2 belts up there. I lost more title fights than I won. Way more title fights than I won. Those are both boxing belts. I competed for 2 MMA titles and I lost both those fights. Lost both of them. That hurts the most. I wanted so bad to just be an MMA champion. Say I was a champion of mixed martial arts. Never got to do it. Never got to do it. Took 2 title fights. Never got to do it, man. It's rough. It was really rough. Because that's just, like I said, it's something I just wanted to be proud of myself. And there was moments where I was proud of myself. But it just never was enough. Winning a fight, I will say it's a high. Like a high that nothing compares to. I've done a lot of cool things in my life. Nothing is compared to winning an MMA fight. It's the most primal, successful, like manly feeling you'll ever feel is winning an MMA fight. But the more I did it, the less cool it felt, and the more the losses hurt. So like the wins, winning and the feeling of winning and the wins was not outweighing losing and the feeling of losses, if that makes sense. The wins didn't hang around as much as the losses did. Like I said, I lost 5 fights in my career. There's 3 that I think about. The last 3 fights that I lost, I think about them every single day. And one of those was like 2 years ago. I think about them every single day. I think about those fights. And you asked me the order that I beat the guys that I won. Like, hey, did you beat this guy for? I couldn't tell you. I can't remember. But I can tell you the exact date, location, who I lost to, where I lost at, all this stuff about my losses. I remember everything about my losses more than my wins. And that was kind of to the point where I was like, ooh, this might be a problem. You know, the losses are weighing, you know, they're sitting heavy way more than the wins are. And my favorite thing about fighting was winning. I wanted to win. That was my favorite thing about fighting, was feeling like the man. And that feeling was going away. And the feeling of feeling like a loser when I would lose got super strong. And I hated it because, like I said earlier, I hate losing. I just want to win. And I didn't like the way it made me feel. I overthought it all the time. And it's so weird because where should I, you know what, we'll talk about this all correlate back together. So the fight where I got knocked out, that's probably one that caught you guys out when I said I had 5 losses. One of them was a knockout. I'll talk about that. Going into this fight, I was 4-2 and I was on a 3-fight win streak. All 3 of those wins are by submission. All 4 of those wins technically were by submission, but the 3-fight win streak were all submissions. I was on top of the world. Felt like the man. And mind you, like I said, I fight in Ohio as an amateur. The rules are different from state to state. Ohio, as an amateur, you cannot knee to the head. You cannot kick to the head. You cannot elbow to the head. The only thing that can punch the head as an amateur MMA fighter in Ohio is a fist, is a hand. You can open a hand, smack, palm strike, punch, whatever. You cannot kick, you cannot knee, and you cannot elbow. Stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? So my first ever title fight was down in Kentucky, where you can knee in the face, you can kick to the head, stuff like that. And I fought up, and day before weigh-ins as well in Kentucky, Ohio's day of, I fought for a bantamweight title, which is 135 pounds. Mind you, I'm a flyweight, 125 pounds. So I finally got to weigh in the day before, and I didn't get to take full advantage because I didn't have to cut that much weight. I only cut down to 135, and at that time I wasn't walking around as heavy as I am now. I'd probably walk around about 140, 141. So I'd probably cut 5-6 pounds, you know. Nothing crazy, but it was cool because that was my first time of promotion ever, you know. Paid for my hotel. It was a shitty hotel I got put in, but it was cool at the time. I felt like the man, you know. I felt like that, you know. What's that Drake meme that's always going around, you know what I'm saying? Or them guys that post up on the balcony, you know, it's like your job pays for like one hotel and you start posting pics like this. That's how I was feeling in this horrible hotel down in Kentucky, but it was cool. Dude I was fighting, I'm actually friends with him now. He's a good dude. But I was fighting him down in Kentucky. He was their bantamweight champion. He was, I believe, 3-1 at the time with 1 decision win and 2 knockouts. And his 1 loss was a submission loss, up a weight class. And he fought for the LFA. So I went down there to fight him. It was going to be classic striker versus grappler. I was like, I'm going to go in there. I'm going to take this dude down. And I'm going to smother him until I get my submission. Mind you, this was a title fight, so it was 5 rounds. That was different. Even in Ohio, they don't do that. It's still 3 3-minute rounds in Ohio. Since it was an amateur title fight in Kentucky, it was 5 3-minute rounds. So I was trying to pace myself, First round, I do exactly what I need to do. I catch his kicks, I take him down, I smother him, land some ground and pound, whatever. I won the first round. I'll talk about. I'm already talking about it. Like I said, I would try to leave it for like a story time thing, but who cares? Second round, we come out striking. He lands a good right hand. I throw a left hand. Nobody's there. And then he jumps to throw a jumping knee. I go to meet it so I can smother it with my chest and take it down. Take him down that way because I need to get this dude on the ground. He's a dangerous striker. He was fast. He was tall. He was long. He was dangerous. But he changes that knee from one knee to the other, does a jumping switch knee, and hits me clean right here and knocks me out cold. The first time in my life I'd ever been knocked out cold. And I believe a lot. I've never told him this, so if he sees it, he's probably going to feel bad. But I believe that's when everything changed for me in fighting, was that moment right there when I got knocked out. Because to be a fighter, you got to have this delusion that you're the best in the world, even if you're not. I'm not the best in the world, never have been. But leading up to that fight, my first 6 fights, I was 4-2. I felt like the king of the world. I felt I was untouchable. I was like, nobody can beat me. Nobody can touch me on the ground. I'm the best grappler around. I have a granite chin. Nobody can knock me out. Because I'd never been rocked. I'd never been dropped. I shouldn't say never been dropped. There was probably my first fight, I think I did get dropped. But there was never a time where I was knocked out. And I was like, dude, I got a granite chin. This dude nobody can knock me out. I had this feeling of invincibility and this delusion that I needed to have to be a fighter. And I went into that fight, and that knee changed everything for me in my career. This is crazy. But he did. He knocked me out. And I remember waking up in the back. I'm sitting there. My coach is to my left, and he's sitting to my right. And I remember I wake up, and I'm like, uh-oh. Like, this didn't go well. And I remember I look at my coach, and I was like, what happened? What'd he get me with? The classic, what'd he get me with? That every fighter does when they get knocked out. And I remember there's TVs, and they were playing in the back for the fighters to watch, but it was so choppy, like so far behind. So I literally, perfect timing, I'm able to look up and watch me get knocked out in choppy slow motion. I see his knee, hit me in the face, my head snapped back, and then I sit motionless down in the cage and eat like 2-3 follow-up punches. Totally not necessary, but I'm not mad at him because that's a rule as a fighter. If the referee does not pull you off or get in the way, you do your job. So I was not mad about that. But yeah, I had to rewatch it live, and then I had to watch it get shared all over social media. Everybody's sharing it. This guy's dangerous. Look at this crazy knockout. I had to watch it over and over to the point where I actually deleted social media. It was messing with me so bad because I had to see it all the time. So I deleted social medias. I went into... I'll never claim that I've been depressed because growing up, I think it's just from how I grew up in school. This was a school thing. If you were depressed as a dude, you couldn't be. That being depressed was for it's for pussies. Is basically what it was. It was for pussies to be depressed. So I will never claim that I was ever depressed. So I don't know what it feels like. I don't know what it feels like to be depressed. I know there's people that have life way worse than me. I'm grateful for everything that I have in my life. So I will never claim that I'm depressed because there's way more things I could be depressed about. But it did put me in a bad spot. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't have social media, never got on my phone. I just sat in my room all the time, didn't want to go to practice, nothing like that. It put me in a dark spot. Eventually, I got out of the slump, I thought, and I came back to the gym. And that fight was in October, and I got knocked out, so it was a 2-month suspension. And the way the suspension ended, I would still be able to fight in December if I really wanted to. So I was like, I need to fight in December. So I did. I found a fight in December at 125 pounds back in Ohio for one of the biggest promotions in Ohio, Cage Thunder MMA. And I took on Nick Lute, great guy, veteran of Ohio. Like, this dude had like 15 fights at the time, I believe. Purple belt in jiu-jitsu. Just way older than me, way more experience. And I was like, I want to fight that guy because I need to bounce back. I want to win, but I want the win to matter. I don't want to fight a bum and it not matter. So I want to fight somebody tough. So I get that fight, and I win that fight by split decision. That was my decision, and that was the last fight I would ever win as an amateur, and that was in December of 2024 was the last time I ever won an MMA fight. That's crazy. That's crazy to say. That was the last time I ever won an MMA fight was in December of 2024. I won that fight, and I thought that win was going to be the best feeling win in the world just because of how much I loved winning and how much I needed to bounce back. It was not. It was cool. Don't get me wrong, it was cool. But all I could think about was the loss of getting knocked out. That's all I could think about. Because that fight, again, was for a title. And it's like, man, I lost my chance at a title, and I lost in embarrassing fashion. when I got knocked out. Every time I lose, even when I got knocked out or whatever, the knockout. Let's talk about the knockout. People text me asking me if I'm okay. All I could say was I'm sorry. I'd apologize. I'm like, I'm sorry. When I got concussed in my last fight, I'm laying there on the ground. Everything's all swirly. I can tell what's going on. I can hear people, kind of see people. I'm just going, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All I did was apologize because I knew what they had seen, and it just wasn't me. It's not what I wanted to happen. It's not the version of me I wanted people to see was me losing. So I would immediately apologize no matter what. Every time I lost, I would say sorry, whether it was to my teammates, my family, my coaches, whatever. I would just immediately apologize. So, yeah, where was I even going with that? That win just didn't feel like I thought it was going to feel, and immediately all I could still think about was that fight in October. And another thing that I feel changed is I started fighting after that fight, the one in October where I got knocked out. I started fighting very, very cautiously. I wasn't taking risk anymore. That fight I had with Nick Lute in December, I did a lot of holding him against the cage, working stuff in the clinch, working stuff on the ground. I did not. That if there was any fight where I should have tried to strike, it should have been that fight, and I didn't because I was so scared. I literally had thoughts of like, he's gonna touch me one time and I'm gonna get knocked out. Like there was a legit moment where we're in the clinch and he lands a clean uppercut, boom, snaps my head back, and I remember holding him against the cage, and I think to myself, well, you didn't get knocked out. Like I literally thought my chin was going to be absolutely gone, dust, like nothing. It was not gonna hold up for anything. Just anymore. That's just what I thought was going to happen because, again, I was on top of the world. I thought I was the man, untouchable. Nobody could knock me out. And then I got knocked out, and I immediately went from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows. I got knocked out. I got highlight reel knocked out, and I had to watch it on social media everywhere. So to come back, I was super cautious, and that fight I thought would give me some confidence back, and it did, but it didn't give me. It gave me confidence back outside of the cage, if that makes sense, because once it was time to get back in the cage again, the confidence wasn't there. Like I said, that fight was December of 2024. I didn't fight again until August of 2025, where I went back to Cage Thunder and I fought for their amateur flyweight title. I got another title shot against he was 4-2 at the time, good strong wrestler. But yeah, I take this fight. I go there. I'm not going to talk about it too much. Again, I would like to leave these for some story times. I ended up losing a decision. That fight went 0-2 in MMA title fights. And then, of course, my next fight wouldn't be till February of 26, where I got the concussion. So I went on a 2-fight losing streak. That was the thing with my losses. I never lost 2 in a row. That was saying every time if I would lose and then my next fight would be booked, it'd be people in the comments of the post, Connor don't lose 2 times in a row. Showtime don't lose 2 in a row. They say that all the time. But now I do. I lose 2 in a row. I lost 2 in a row. So that doesn't hold strong anymore. But emotionally, I think fighting changed me a lot. I think I like most people had the delusion before I started fighting that that I could fight and I was tough until I started training with real fighters and realized that I wasn't. I'm like, I can get my ass whooped. I realized that. I was like, I should probably carry a weapon. You know what I'm saying? So once I started training, I really took pride in it. Like that's why I made it myself, because it's such hard work to be a fighter mentally, physically, emotionally. Your body gets beat up. I got a shoulder. My right shoulder will probably never be the same from fighting. It's tore up. Both my ankles have zero flexibility in my ankles. I've never had anything too bad. Like I've never had no broken bones, nothing like that. Like I said, I've had obviously some beat up faces and concussions, knocked out, messed up ankles. I had a boxer fracture, and I think it was my left hand. Shoulders messed up. I got some gnarly cauliflower ear. Everybody's like, dude, you must have wrestled forever. It's like, no, I did jiu-jitsu for a month. I got it super quick. I don't know how. My left ear, perfectly fine. You can tell I'm a southpaw because that right ear's forward. But yeah, nothing too crazy, but it does. It beats up on your body all the time. It beats up on you mentally because you'll start to think like, man, can I beat this guy? You'll go through all these emotions, especially once a fight's booked, man. You sign that contract. Like, well, yeah, that's so pumped. You get pumped. Yeah, I just signed a contract. I'm ready to fight. The poster comes out. You're like, oh, okay, this is getting legit. You start doing fight camp. You start getting your ass whooped in fight camp. You're like, dude, I can't fight. I'm not ready for this. And you got to go through all those emotions while you're cutting weight. You get there to the fight show. You finally make weight. You feel relieved, but then you got to do your face off with your opponent. And every fighter's different. I trained with guys and fought guys I know that were they had to get locked in and be I don't want to say disrespectful, but give you the cold shoulder. They're staring you down the whole time. They're pacing back and forth, whatever. That was never me. I never fought with emotion. I never fought with anger. I just fought because it was fun and I wanted to win. So I fought. I was me. I was out there. I was smiling. I was relaxed. That's always how I fought. I never fought with anger. I never fought with emotion. That just wasn't me. But yeah, like I said, those nerves will lead up to you during the fight, the weigh-ins or whatever. Then you'll finally get to rehydrate and eat or whatever, and then it starts setting in. You're like, oh, because you go to the fighter meeting and everybody's there going over the rules. You start getting your hands taped. You're like, oh, it's getting real. You start hitting mitts. You start warming up, and then it's time to walk out. And right before you walk out, you're going to be nervous. If you're not nervous, you're not alive. You're not living. You're going to be nervous. People probably thought, dude, Connor never gets nervous. I was heart racing before every fight, man. And then my music would hit, and it would go away for the most part until like my last two fights. I'd say my last 2 fights, it didn't go away, and I was still nervous. But yeah, you gotta. I would say too, as a fighter, like I said, you're gonna get nervous. You should get nervous. You're not getting nervous, something's wrong. You're not living. You need to get nervous because you're getting nervous because of all the work you put in. You put in all this work to win this fight, to be the best. Because at the end of the day, that dude signed a contract saying that he could whoop your ass and he could kill you if there was no ref in there. So you got to go out there and prove that he can't do that and that you can do that to him. So yeah, you're going to be nervous. And, you got all these people watching. Your friends and family are there. These casuals that don't know anything about MMA. You go in there and you lose. You're like, oh, son, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? You're going to deal with things like that. You get knocked out or, you lose or whatever. There's going to be professional photos taken at the event. Guys are going to post it on social media, so you're going to have to see all these pictures of you losing, these clips of you losing. Or if you win, you're going to get sweet pics of you winning and sweet clips of you winning. There's so much that plays into it. Social media has affected it so much too, because it's not like, oh, I lost. In a couple months, people forget. That's on the internet forever because there's pictures. Your opponent posted them pictures. He posted them pictures. If he finished you, he posted the video of him finishing you. Whatever promotion you fought for, I bet they got a YouTube channel, and I bet they're going to post some fights up there, and they're going to be on there forever, and people can constantly see. People are going to look your name up with MMA after it. Those fights are going to come up, win or lose. You got to think about that. This stuff stays out there forever. It doesn't go away. That's so much pressure on you now. You know what I'm saying? When you think of it that way. Things like that, man, it's crazy to think about. Just how much pressure there is, and like I said, for me, I hated losing. And losing in MMA is different than it was like, say I lost a football game. Our team lost. MMA, I went out there. I lost myself. I lost a fist fight, a physical fight against somebody else. Because like I think Joe Rogan talked about it one time. You can always, if you're beefing with somebody, you're like, all right, let's fight then. I can whoop your ass. You whoop some dude's ass in fighting. Say he's talking shit. You whoop his ass. Now what's he gonna do? What's he going to do now? Oh, I can beat you one-on-one in basketball. Nobody cares, bro. Fighting is like the pinnacle, bro. That's the ultimate thing. And it's like losing in that in front of all these people, hundreds, thousands of people, whatever. It sucks. And it really messes with you a lot. And that's why I said it's the lowest of lows and the highest of highs of when you win. It's just one of them things, man, especially with the social media aspect that I brought up as well. It's just something, you got to put into perspective. Another thing too, when I started, like I said, when I decided to stop fighting, it wasn't like an impulse thing. It was something that I had thought about for a while. And then one of the reasons said because I lost my spark and lost my fun with it. After that fight in October when I got knocked out, my last 3 fights, like I said, it was like I'd be nervous that music would hit and it'd go away. It didn't. Those last 3 fights, it didn't go away. I was still nervous the whole walk to the cage, the whole time I'm in the cage. I was a slow starter, and then once I'd start getting comfortable, it was like cool. Some of them fights, man, I just never got comfortable. I couldn't get comfortable. I didn't feel at home anymore. I didn't feel like it was me, and I used to get so excited to fight. Those last like 3 fights, I was excited for the fight to be over. I remember being in the corner like, man, I just want this to be over with. My last 2 fights all were decisions. So they were the longest fights I could possibly have, and I just remember, man, another round, man, I want this to be over with. Man, I want this to be done. I believe I'd mentally checked out after that fight where I got knocked out in Kentucky. I believe I was mentally checked out from my last 3 fights, win or lose. Like I said, I won 1, lost 2 of them, those last 3. I was mentally checked out, I feel, for all 3. I just wanted to get out of there, and I did want to win, but more importantly, I didn't want to lose. And they sound the same, but they're 2 different things. Wanting to win and not wanting to lose are 2 different things. I used to want to win, and I wanted to win. I wanted to feel like a winner so bad, and I'd go out there and give everything I had just so I could be a winner. And then it got to the point where I was like, man, I just don't want to lose again. And it got even to the point where it's like, man, I don't want to get knocked out again. I don't want to get finished again. Because I always hear people all the time, coaches and stuff, etc., be like, man, I'd rather you get knocked out than lose a decision because, that means you gave everything you had. I was like, no, hell no, I'd rather lose a decision than get knocked out. I think about getting knocked out every single day. Multiple times a day do I think about that moment where I got knocked out. I'd much rather lose a decision. I lost 4 of them. I'd lose 4 more if I take one more knockout. That's just me. That's just how I am. I don't know, just how my brain works. I've always been like, growing up, I've always cared what people thought about me. And lately in life, I've gotten way better at not caring. That's why I've gotten so better at talking on the camera and posting stuff on social media. It helps me not care anymore what people think. But that was always a big thing in my life. I always cared what people thought about me. I always wanted validation from other people. And I think that was a big part of why I wanted to win so much in fighting. I wanted the people to see me as a winner, and I wanted people to congratulate me and get that validation from people. So I think that played a big role in fighting as well. But like I said, I started once I lost my spark and the fun for it. I could just tell it wasn't for me anymore. Like I said, it did a lot of things to me mentally and physically. This isn't like some sob story. I don't want people to like feel bad for me. Oh my God, you went through that? Like, no, dude, I chose to do all these things. No one made me fight. No one made me train every day. I made myself fight and made myself train every day. I wanted to do it for like 90% of the time. The rest of it I forced myself to do, but that's just because that's just how I was, and I didn't know who else I would be without fighting. There was times I probably should have stopped after I won that fight against Luke. Probably I should have stopped then because of just the way that one fight felt. It didn't feel like the other ones. I probably should have known then and there. But then I was offered, I get you a title shot. So I was like, all right, I can fight for my belt. And then, those fights didn't go my way, unfortunately. Really unfortunately. Man, I would have loved to win an MMA belt. They would have been hanging right. I would have took them stupid, lame jiu-jitsu belts down. They would have put them somewhere else. I would have had an MMA belt right there. I would have had it right, the TV right in front of me. I would have had it right up on above the TV or something. I don't know. I would have done some cool stuff with it, man. Something I could really hang my hat on and be proud of. I'm going to find new things to be proud of. I'm proud of doing this content, whether only a couple people see it or whether eventually it'll blow up. Who knows? But it's fun. I'm having fun. And that was the biggest thing that I was worried about once I stopped fighting, is finding my new identity of who I was and what I wanted to be. And one of the things I stopped, like I said, I was in that concussion lockdown, and I had to think. I was like, what are the 3 things? I was like, what are 3 people that I used to always like look up to and thought was cool as a kid? It was 1, MMA fighters. Tried that. That didn't work as well. 2, pro wrestlers was another one. But 3 was YouTubers and content creators. I thought they were so cool. So I was like, all right, I'm going to give that a try. And I started doing it, and I'm having a blast with it. Like I said, it's not about the numbers. Of course, the views, getting views is cool. Getting likes is cool. Subscribers, whatever. But to me, I'm just having fun. Like, I get excited. I see a new piece of UFC news. I can't wait to make a video about it, post it on TikTok. All this UFC fight night, this UFC pay-per-view. I can't wait to post my predictions. Like, I get so excited to do it. It's so fun to me just to be able to express my mind and my ideas and my thoughts out to people. Because I'm super nerdy about the UFC. And I have friends and stuff that were into the UFC, but they weren't on to the level that I was. So I couldn't really talk about it with them. So I figured I would just talk about it staring at myself and then post it on the internet. And then other people that care about it as much as I do, we can have cool comments. Like, I comment back to everybody, whether that's on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever. I'm always commenting back to people just because I want to have those conversations, because I never really got to have them. So I'd love to have those conversations. And that's kind of what I get to do in the the comment sections of social media. And that's what social media has kind of opened me up to do. I can be myself, not care so much about other people think anymore, express my feelings, my ideas. Social media, as much as it is evil, you can find the good in it, and I think that's the way with everything. There's evil in everything, there's good in everything. It's up to you to find the good and get away from the evil. Same with MMA. There's good and evil in it. I met great people. I met a lot of great people in throughout MMA that I still work with till this day, that I still am friends with till this day. I met a lot of people that I can't stand in the sport of MMA, which takes a lot for me to not be able to stand you, because I am very good at finding the good in people, even when there isn't any in you. But I will find it. But there's people that I can't stand that I met in MMA, but most of the people I met are great people, and I'm happy that they're in my life, or they were in my life at one time. I crossed paths with them, etc. The very end, man, I'm very grateful for my time in MMA. It's memories that I'll never forget. I would cherish them forever. I got cool stories to tell. My thing was with MMA was I wanted to give it a shot so I can at least say that I tried. So when I'm old, I'm like, oh, excuse me, I will be that old guy talking about all the cool stories, how cool I was when I was 20. I'm going to do that because I'd much rather be that old than being sitting around, a fire, drinking a beer, which I would never do. Alcohol is disgusting. Anyway, metaphorically, drinking a beer and talking about, man, I would have been a good MMA fighter if I would have done it. I hate the idea of would have been, could have been, should have been, whatever. That's why I went and did it. And that's a big thing I feel about with life too. This is really getting rambled on everywhere, but it's very typical and cheesy, but like you get one life, make the most of it. So do whatever is fun for you. Whatever's fun for you to do it. Who cares if someone makes fun of you? Who cares, if people don't like what you do? Who cares what they think? We're all just people floating around on a rock, bro. Just have fun, do what's fun for you. Like right now, for me, that's content. At a time, it was MMA. It's no longer anymore. So I stepped away. Now I'm doing content stuff because it's fun. I still love MMA and UFC. I love the sport of it. I just don't love doing it anymore. I lost my love for doing it. I didn't lose my love for the sport itself. So that's why I'm still here making content and, talking to cameras all the time. So like I said, I'm glad I did it. I will cherish the memories forever. And there's a lot of things I would change about my career if I could go back and change. But that's kind of why I make this video, to help other people not make the same mistakes that I made. But yeah, there's some things I would change if I could, but hey, it is what it is. That's all hearsay now. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I would totally recommend it if you want to do it. But if you want to do it, you better want to do it. You know what I'm saying? Give it everything you got. You can't half-ass this sport at all. And it is a sport. People say MMA is not a sport. It's a sport. It's sports entertainment. This is entertainment. It is entertainment. Yeah, MMA. If you want to do it, give it everything you got. Make your life MMA if you're gonna want to do it. Don't half-ass it. You're gonna let yourself down. You're gonna embarrass yourself, and you're gonna get hurt. Give it everything you got. Put your heart and soul into it, man, all day, every day, and enjoy it. Because you train hours and hours and hours and days, weeks, months, years, whatever, for at most, as an amateur in Ohio specifically is what I'm speaking of, 9 minutes at most in a cage. So enjoy every second of them 9 minutes. Enjoy every second of them, them training sessions that you got to do, them fight camps, them weight cuts. As hard as it is to embrace that stuff, especially a weight cut, man. Weight cuts suck. I can tell you, man. They suck. You got to embrace it. You got to embrace it. You got to think of the end goal. Think of what, hey man, I make weight, I can get this fight, then I can fight and I can win, I can get a belt, whatever, whatever gets you through it, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, if you're going to do it, give it everything you got. Don't half-ass nothing that you're going to do in MMA. Like I said, if you feel like you've done enough, you can probably do more, because there was times where I felt I was doing enough, but I definitely thinking about it now, I could have done more. There's stuff I could have done better, I could have straightened up, but like I said, it's too late now. I love that I did it. I cherish every moment, but sometimes there is just a little bit in me that wish I never even tried it. You know what I'm saying? It's a weird, bittersweet feeling that I have with the sport of MMA, doing the sport of MMA. But yeah, it was a wild ride. I enjoyed it. Like I said, if you're gonna do it, give it your heart and soul. You will. I believe you will have some fun. And if it's for you, who knows what you can do with it? You might become one of the best in the world. You never know. That's everybody's goal, is to become the best in the world. So why not give it everything you got? And more importantly, like I said, you get one life. Have fun with it. Do what you want to do. Don't be, I wish I would have done this guy. Don't be a guy, I wish I could have done this. I wish I would have done this. Go do it, man. Just go do it. Nobody's stopping you but you, man. Go do it. Go have fun with whatever it is that you're doing. But yeah, that was kind of, almost been talking for an hour. This is crazy. I know I kind of rambled on different spots. Like I said, I didn't make notes, bullet points to really talk about anything or put anything in like any chronological order. So bear with me. If you listen to this, the whole thing, I hope you did, because I think there's a lot of good information in this that you're going to learn from my experience as well, and hopefully it helps you. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully it gets to the right people, whether that's people that already fight, people that want to fight, or maybe it has nothing to do with fighting. Maybe it's just, you can relate to it. You have your own MMA, if that makes sense. Whatever it is that is your hobby that you may be feeling about, that's very similar feelings how I had about MMA. Maybe, you can kind of correlate it, and it can help you get through what you need to get through. Yeah, I just hope this reaches the right audience. It's something I kind of wanted to do a lot. I've thought about this for a while, just kind of getting it off my chest and talking about fighting in general. Yeah, I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I'm talking about it here. I feel like this video will be good for me just to kind of express myself and to help other people as well. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was a little bit different. I'm recording this at 2 in the morning on Saturday. So, technically today will be Chris Duncan versus Renato Moicano. So, I will be posting my recap on that. Don't you worry. Back to normal content. Just thought this would be nice to share with the world my story. And like I said, I got a lot of stories I can talk about from combat sports. How I won these boxing belts back here. How I lost some boxing belts. Kickboxing matches. MMA fights. I can go real in-depth on some of these MMA fights. Like I said, I had 10 of them. I can talk about my wins and talk about my losses. I feel like I talked about my losses, guys. I won fights too, I swear. I would take it with a grain of salt, Tapology. I've been ranked in the top 10 multiple times, flyweight in Ohio. I believe I'm still number 10 somehow right now. I think the highest I ever got was number 6. Never quite broke the top 5. You know, man, there's a lot of moments in my career I was like, almost there, right? I was just almost there. A lot of times. That sucks a lot when I think about it. But anyway, enough rambling. Like I said, it's almost been an hour that I've been talking. But yeah, I hope this reaches who it needs to reach. I hope it helps who it needs to help. It did help me, I believe. So, yeah. Thank you guys for listening to me ramble about my time in the sport of MMA. It was a wild ride, but I cherish every memory and every second of it.